So, where can God be in this amazing universe? These discoveries of science actually help us to understand how the Creator may be operating within our universe. The transcendent laws of the timeless dimension control the subatomic realities discovered by quantum physics. It is these subatomic realities that form the matter of our universe. Since the quantum dimension seems to be characterized by instant, universe-wide interconnection and communication, it is not surprising that the Creator can be aware of everything in this vast universe and can interact with everything instantaneously. 2,000 years ago, Jesus spoke about this, long before our scientific age. He told his followers, "Your heavenly Father notices when a sparrow falls to the ground. He even knows how many hairs are on your head." Scientists who have studied the Big Bang event and the following evolution of the universe have discovered that only minute changes in any one of a number of fundamental characteristics would have made this universe impossible. The calculated statistical probability against chance is 1 in 10 to the power 55. This is an enormous number that is almost impossible to visualize. As an illustration, if you covered the whole of the United States of America with small coins edge to edge and from north to south, now if you placed other coins on all of this great area of coins and continued piling upwards until reaching the moon, if you were now told that within this great mountain of coins there was just one that was different to the rest, the statistical probability of finding this one coin would be less than 1 in 10 to the power 55. This 1 in 10 to the power 55 statistical probability against chance only refers to the chance of a universe like ours coming into existence. If we then consider the statistical probability of the first life coming into existence by chance, we find this increases the odds against chance even further to something like 1 in 10 to the power 161. Some of the amazing so-called coincidences are as follows. If the strong nuclear force was just a few percent stronger, the sun would have burnt up all its hydrogen fuel in less than a second. In other words, the sun would only have shone for a second after it was formed. In addition, our sun is one of very few suns that have a relatively stable heat production essential for life. We are at just the right distance from the sun to allow water to form, and this is essential for life. Another unusual characteristic of our sun is its orbit around the center of the galaxy. This prevents it plunging into the inner galaxy where life-threatening supernovae are more common. Another example, gravity behaves completely differently to other known forces. It acts on everything, including light. It is 30 times weaker than all other basic forces in nature. We have all heard of Isaac Newton watching an apple fall and leading to his formulation of the laws of gravity. The weakness of this force is a vital fact that keeps your chair from falling through the wooden floor. This is because the electrical bonds that hold together a layer of wood are stronger than the gravitational pull of an entire planet. Scientists will say that the strength of gravity had to be precisely what it is, otherwise our universe could not exist. Water has peculiar properties. Unlike other similar substances, it seems to break basic rules of chemistry, such as expanding when freezing. Most other substances contract when freezing. If water did not have this surprising characteristic, then the oceans and other water bodies would freeze from the bottom upwards. Since life first appeared in water, this would have made it impossible. Water is a vital part of all life's chemistry. The search for life elsewhere in the universe is increasingly showing that our Earth is unusually suited for life. The size and situation of the moon is also vitally important. Our planet is the only one in our solar system with a moon of an appreciable size to the planet it orbits. This keeps the tilt of the Earth stable and maintains a relatively stable climate. Rare moons such as ours may be necessary for life. The origin of the complex DNA code of life is still a mystery to science. Those who have studied this amazing blueprint for life admit that it is extremely unlikely that such an efficient code arose by chance. Here we see just a tiny segment of this double strand of chemicals that dictate exactly what each of us looks like and also what all other living things look like. The amount of information contained in the DNA of each cell in our bodies is equivalent to all the information in 200 telephone directories, each 500 pages long. The statistical probability of this code coming into existence by pure chance is in itself minutely small. The origin of the first life still remains a mystery to science. There is no such thing as a simple living cell. Even the most simple is amazingly complex. This has led some scientists to propose that it came from outer space. This sounds rather like giving up on the search for a purely chance origin. A simple cell is composed of many parts, all of which have to be present simultaneously for a cell to function. The DNA code of life is just one of these complex components. If these all arose via mutations and natural selection alone, this implies a whole series of amazing and statistically unlikely coincidences. We also face the difficulty of explaining the appearance of many biological structures, such as the human eye, and a large number of complex chemical systems within living organisms that do not fulfill their complex functions until almost fully formed. The appearance of photosynthesis right at the start of life on Earth was essential for all future life. This created most of the oxygen in our atmosphere. However, this process has been described by biologists as possibly the most complicated reaction in the biosphere. So we are faced with the reality that the most complex reaction known to life appeared at the very dawn of life. All this complexity is even now only partly understood by science, and yet has existed within the chloroplasts of plants since the dawn of life on Earth. We normally think of simple things gradually becoming more complex, but here we find the most complex coming almost at the beginning. If it had not been this way around, then we would not be here today. We have always known that it is impossible to prove or disprove the existence of God through science. However, for the first time in history, we can now say that the statistical probability against our universe being the result of pure chance is astronomically great. In everyday situations, we would say that a statistical probability of 1 in 1,000 means almost certainty. With regard to our universe, we have the mind-blowing statistical probability against chance, namely 1 in 10 to the power 55. Clearly, it takes far less faith to believe in the Creator than not to believe. I am told there was once a debate between an atheist and a Christian pastor. At one stage, the atheist said to the debate chairman, "What I can't accept from people like this pastor is that he expects me to believe that some hypothetical God made everything from nothing." The pastor replied, "I admit it takes a measure of faith to believe that God made everything from apparently nothing. However, my atheist friend wants me to believe that nothing made everything from nothing. To my mind, that takes even more faith." Some scientists, faced with the overwhelming large statistical probability against chance, have proposed what they call the anthropic or multiverse alternative. This suggests that maybe there are or were an infinite number of different universes, and we just happen to be in the only one suited for life. As a result, we think that it was designed when it was not. However, there is actually no evidence that other universes exist. There is not even any proof that such alternative universes could exist. The possibility or lack thereof will depend on what existed before the Big Bang. Therefore, such a suggestion remains speculative, and anyone adopting this multiverse alternative is actually taking a step of faith. By faith, we mean the adoption of a viewpoint that cannot be fully proven. If we look at the alternatives, I believe that the God alternative requires less faith than does the multiverse alternative. Some participants in this debate suggest that the intelligent design option is actually proposing a God of the gaps. God is placed wherever gaps remain in the scientific explanation of reality. However, the intelligent design camp can point out that the multiverse theory relies on the possibility of unknown universes, the existence of which are entirely theoretical. The multiverse proposal is in fact a theory of the gaps. Those who are wishing that the multiverse option will in time prove correct are placing their hopes on what is known to physicists as string theory. So far, string theory can create computer models of theoretical universes, but has failed to create a model of our own universe. Should we laugh or cry? String theorists are hoping that the new particle accelerator called the Hadron Collider in Switzerland will provide some evidence in support of this theory. As a scientist, I am totally convinced that belief in the Creator is a most logical conclusion when faced with all the revelations of science. In addition, for many people, this belief in God has been reinforced by real-life experiences. People who have had real-life experiences with God do not need to look at all the scientific evidence. However, for those of us who like to try to understand how God fits into all the amazing discoveries of science, it is exciting to realize that science can greatly enlarge our understanding of God and how He operates in His universe. Since there is instantaneous and universe-wide communication within the timeless dimension, we can start to understand how God can be aware of all things instantaneously and everywhere at once. In addition to being aware of everything in the universe, we can propose that the Creator can interact with all processes and events. He can interact with and guide the small steps of evolutionary processes. This can be done by His powerful mind thinking into the seemingly random and unpredictable movements of subatomic particles, and in this way imposing small inputs of energy designed to channel events towards pre-calculated outcomes. The question of chance or predictability needs to be considered very carefully. Scientists observing the behavior of subatomic particles soon realized that they seemed to behave in a chaotic or unpredictable manner. This led to development of so-called chaos theory. It was developed to try and explain the behavior of subatomic particles. However, we now realize that apparently chance or chaotic events are not necessarily unpredictable. Chaotic conditions in the microscopic world of the atom are actually very sensitive to slight inputs from other sources. In 1993, an article by Schinbrot in the journal Nature points out that the extreme sensitivity of chaotic systems to tiny inputs can be used to direct chaotic movements towards desired outcomes. For instance, a tiny input such as a butterfly or bird wing beat in Japan could start a chain of events leading to a hurricane in Mexico. Just as science can give the illustration of a bird wing beat in Japan initiating a sequence of events that could result in a hurricane in America, in similar manner we can propose that tiny inputs from the mind of the Creator can channel the course of evolutionary history towards preordained outcomes. We can visualize God as the one the Bible says is in all things, through all things, and by Him all things are held together. He determines outcomes by thinking into the apparent chaos of the quantum dimension. It is the power of His supermind that gives the required inputs and guides the course of cosmic and human history.